Okay, so for the camera question, we're going to look at the camera question. So the first thing we need to do is need to figure out, well, how far down should we come? So we're asked to draw a front view, a side view, and as I asked you today in the question, to draw a plan view. So if we look here, we'd say, oh, well, the height of it is only 85, but if we look on the right-hand side, we can see that actually the height of it is 100. The 85 includes the main part and the button, but doesn't include the must be the flash that's on here. Okay, so basically 100 is typically what we're looking for. So we're going to come down, I don't know, maybe 120. Our bottom view or plan view here is going to stick out 65. So maybe actually would come down 150 to keep it centered in my page. Okay, come down 150, draw an XY line. Okay, and we want an end view over here, so we'll come in, I don't know, it'll be 20 or 30. And I'm going to lightly start to create out the question. Okay, so let me see if I zoom that in, it might make a bit more stable. Okay, so I'm going to start here. Looks like I'll have loads of space. The length of it is 140. We'll draw that to start off. And the height of it is 100, as we said, so we'll draw that. Okay, so my T-square starts to hit off my visualizer. Anyways, okay, so that's 100. I'll continue that line on when I have my T-square moved, and I want to leave a gap of 10 between the plan and elevation, and my depth from the plan is 65. Okay, so I'll straighten that up there again. Okay, so we have spaced my elevation, we spaced my plan. At this stage, as I said, the best idea to do is to position the end view. At least that way, if you run out of time on the day of the exam, you have at least the basics of the end view done, and you'll get a few handy marks. So I have my three views. I have my elevation, my plan, and my end view basically set up. So we go back to my elevation, which is probably the one that I'm going to get the main bit of information from. So I'm going to start creating in some sizes. So I'm going to start with this side here. I have 40, 20, and 40, and then I'm going to use my 80 and my 5 there and put in these. So 40, and put a mark for this. Put 20 more, and we'll draw a light line. Now I'm going to draw it across both views, because again I may accidentally get marks there, or may have something in this view that I forget about at the end that I'm going to pick up. Marks 4, I may accidentally find a line, and 80, and then we'll have another 5. Okay. And again, there's maybe hidden detail or something like that, I'm going to draw it right across. Okay. So again, just important to remember, this is the bit I'm focusing on for my elevation for the minute. I'm now going to start coming in for my sizes. So if we look here, our length is obviously 70 and 70, split in half. And this time when I project my line, I'm going to project it across both views. So my set square just fits. Ideally you might want to use your 6-degree set square and to make sure it fits both. So then I'm going to do the top measurements, 15, 55, 45, 10 and 15. So 15 and 55 is 70, which I already have. 45 and 10 is 55. And I should have 15 left there, which I, again, draw it like this, crossing the plan. So this may be a little bit confusing, but it's probably a good method to start with. Okay, so again, this is the bit for my elevation. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to start to heavy in some bits just so that we can stand a few bits out and it'll make things a little bit easier to see. So we'll start with the outline of the camera. So if we start on this side because it's the side that we can see. So that'll keep a gap then, so it'll sort of distinguish where one starts and the other one starts. So we know this part is up 60. We then have some sort of a slope here, right? So we'll come back to that in a second. We know then that if we come in 15, it's going to be heavy, but again, we're going to have to go up to the slope. And we have the same on the other side, and this is going to come fully up to the edge. Okay, up to 80. Okay, so if we look here, this comes across to the 70 mark. And then all of a sudden it slants. And from looking at this, because I can't see any other solid line, I know that this must be one solid slope. So we do know this point here, which is here. I can join that to that, so I'll just try my set square. It's at a random angle, but I have the 2 points, and I'll heavy that into that. And then obviously my flash is level with, or is another 10mm in, and level with the 70mm line. Okay. So, sorry, I'm going to use my set square, just my t-square. It's hitting off the visualizer. So that's basically that. And then I have the two circular parts to do. I have the lens and I have the button. Now, the button, the best process to do with the button is actually to draw what it looks like here and then project up the lines. So we may as well do that first. So if we look at the back of our camera here, it's solid the whole way, but it has two angles here. Now what I forgot to mark, what I could have done at the start, I forgot to mark the distance of here. So there's 10, show you where I'm getting them from. So 10, 15, 10 and 30. So 10 and 15 is 25, and another 10 is 35, and that should leave us with 30 at the front. Okay, so it does. Okay, so the 30 is for the lens. So this is basically my main part of my camera. So what I'm going to do is I can see here that I've sloped at the edges, or two angles at the edges. So they're basically here, and here, and it's a symmetrical camera, so there's angles here. Now mine might be a tiny bit off just because I'm using my pencil. This one here could be a little bit more accurate, this one here could be a little bit more accurate, but the general gist of it is correct. Okay, so we have our shape here, and then I'm going to put in my button. So again, I have to be careful and look here. So I have 7, then 20, and then 8. Now really all I need here is the center of the button. Right, it has additional measurements there which I don't really need. So I need to know this is 7. If I look at the diameter as 20, that means that the radius is half of that, so it's 10. So basically 10 plus 7 is 17, or if I want to come in from this side I can go 10 plus 8 is 18. But we'll come from the back, so 10 plus 7 is 17. So it's not perfectly centered, it's slightly more towards the back. So I'll mark 17, I'll draw I'll use a slightly darker pink just so that it can be seen. And it's level with this. So I set my compass to 10. So the trick for drawing small circles, obviously if you don't have a circle template, is to line these up and make sure that when you tighten them close that the two of them are level or very close to level. So mine are fairly good there. So I'm going to set it to 10. So I'm using my set square, using the back grooved side of my set square. And because I can't go from 0, I'm going between 10 and 2. You may have a set square where your edge, the 0 is in the edge, but in my case, in the set square I have, I just can't. But as long as the measurement is 10 millimeters and the compass's points are level, that should be drawable. So I'm just going to go over that. You wouldn't typically go over it, but I just go over it just so that you can see it. Okay, it may not come out. So the most accurate way then of drawing this in elevation is to make sure that we bring this up. Okay. Now, what I would typically do at this stage is also bring over these 8 points here to end view, but I just want to leave it for the minute. But it's important that I don't forget that at the end. So I now have my button. Okay. So in order to finish off my elevation, what I need to do is basically do my lens. So my lens is radius 30, as we can see here, and then the inner part is radius 20, and then I can also see that it's up on the 40 mm line. So it's on this line and it is level with the center. So there's my center point. So again, I'm going to set my compass to radius 30. Again, because I'm starting from 1, I need to go to 40. Now, another handy thing to do actually, and might be a better practice, would be to put your 0 point there and mark out we need a radius 20 and a radius 30. And by doing that, I can set my compass. So there's my inside, and there's my outside. So I might take a green, and again, well, maybe shade in between them, just for the sake of you being able to see it. Okay, I think it comes out okay on the visualizer. So there's my green lens. Now, if we look at this part here on our 3D, we can see it goes in 10. Now, the view that we'll see that is in the plan and in the end view, and we'll see it as hidden detail. Okay, so it's important that we don't forget that. So hopefully that shows up okay on the screen. So what I need to do now is the same method that I did here. I drew this and projected these up. I'm going to take these and project these down. So Again, we'll just use a slightly darker one just so hopefully you can see it. So there we go. I'm going to take my green pencil so that it stands out a bit. So there is my lens. This is going to be my hidden detail on the inside, but as we figured out, it only goes in 10. So okay, so and what I forgot about is my flash. So again, even though I forgot about it, I would actually get most marks because I have 2 of the lines. Now what I haven't done is, but I probably might have when I brought the center line across, is I haven't came down 15 for it. Sorry, that line wasn't, so this line here is 15. Okay, so draw a line 15 there. Sorry, that was my 17 line. I thought they were lined up, but they're not. And heavy that in. Okay, and again, if I look carefully here, you can see there's a solid edge line there, so there's a change in direction. And there we go. So I'll just shade my flash in maybe a yellow very quickly, just so that it might stand out. Okay, so the last thing then is to get all my points over here. So all these will need to go up at 45. So I'll bring this point over, and as I said, I brought that point over. I'll take my 45-degree set square. And again, at this stage might be about the time when you start to run out of time in the exam. So if that's what happens, what should be best to do is bring them all over, bring them all up. And again, while it might look a bit messy at the minute, technically you'll have the majority of the lines in there. You just have to figure out which is heavy, which is hidden, and which is a construction line. Okay, so I think that's all the edges, and if I look from here, I'll also have an edge from here, and an edge from here, and I think on this edge here may be necessary as well. So a ball of lines there, a load of lines, but we have all the info. Again, not necessarily the way I would approach it normally, but if we start to run out of time, that's a good method to do it, just to make sure that you have done quite well for the end view. So we're going to start with each bit. Now in this case, the lens might be the easiest bit to see, so because that's sticking out particularly at the front. So we follow these around. Now again, if this is the back, if the back is closest to the elevation view in the plan, then the back must be closest here. So if we look, anyways, if we follow around the lens must be on this side. So I forgot one line here at the bottom. And again, I'll do it in green, so just so that you can see it. So this is the base. This is the top. This is the front edge. There's my lens. So all my camera detail is within in this space. The bit that I forgot to do was the hidden detail. So this would be where it sits in here, and where it sits in here, and there we go. There's my lens. So we'll now look at the camera itself. So the first thing we'll do maybe is the main part. So if we're standing on this side looking at it, we're going to see all this edge. So this is going to be solid. And there's my start, there's my end. I'm also going to see the edges for the angles. So that's this line. And that's this line. Okay. So that's that. We're going to put on the button. So it's easy, and again, because I can highlight it in a different colour. So here's our button. And what I haven't brought over is I haven't brought on over the outside edges. So these will go over like 45 degrees, like so. Okay, so there's a fair bit of detail in this question. And again, some nice use of colour helps to make it easier for you. Colour pencils would be a good idea. There's my button and then double check I follow the right lines. Okay, so there's my button. I have my lens. So obviously I forgot about my flash. So the flash is stuck to the back. So I'll use a yellow because that's what I have sort of shaded in here. So here's my line here. And that's it there. Okay. Hopefully that comes out alright in the visualizer. Okay, and there would be an edge there behind it, and it would go down as far as here. So we have a hidden detail surface here. Now hopefully that comes out in the visualizer. I'll just shade it in just to see where it is, and maybe I'll just take a darker colour, this blue, just so that we can see. So that bit there, the yellow inside wouldn't be seen, but it would be there. So there's some hidden detail there that will be seen. Then after that, there's a hidden detail edge here, because when we're standing this side, we can't see this edge here. So take our purple, and that goes straight across. Okay, and I think that's most of it. I'm taking back my 3D. I'm imagining standing here. This I would see, some of this I would see, but I'd have some hidden detail. I'd have hidden detail edge there. Oh, hold on a second. This should be at an angle. So actually I'm slightly mistaken there. That should come from here to the center to there. So this bit here is correct, but this bit here should be at an angle. So I made a small mistake there. So that bit there should have actually come down like that, and should also be coming back up like that. So that's why we check. And then I sort of look and I see, right, have I used all my edges? So that there sort of double line, but I must have accidentally drawn 2. I've used all them, and I think I've Everton used. Okay, so that looks good. So there's my solution to my question. Okay, so we'll zoom in a small bit more. Okay, perfect.